Hey guys, and welcome to GBHL Steve's hobby vlog. This is slightly different. It's hobby vlog. I'm going to be looking back over the past 4 to 6 weeks. I've got through quite a lot of stuff, as a lot of you will have seen on the Facebook page, because I've been posting it on there. But I just thought I'd do a hobby vlog. There's not been a lot of content coming out from ourselves at GBHL HQ. Damien put a bat rep out with James Long, which was awesome. It's nice to see content on the channel again. So I just thought I'd follow suit and stick a hobby vlog out. There is stuff coming. James is extremely busy with his business. Damien, we all know, has a new baby, as does James. Jamie's really busy with Steamforge with a lot of new releases. Tom's always busy, he's never in the country. And yeah, my business is really busy, and any spare time I'm trying to get to spend with the family and get a few little bits and bobs here and there painted up. So without further ado, let's go and have a look at what I've been doing over the past 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, so I think I'll start on my Mirkwood spiders. I converted a few of these for Damien and Tom for SBG magazine a while back. I think it was issue 2 or 3, I can't remember. And had these for myself sort of lying around, but just never really fancied painting them. I don't know what it was, and they actually became one of the models that when I did put some paint on them, I really enjoyed painting them. I tend to find that happens a lot. I look at something and don't really, I think, oh, you know, it's going to take a lot of effort and I can't be bothered, am I going to use them? But with these, I wanted to get them done because I've been doing a lot of my Mirkwood elves. I want to do some scenarios on camera, get some bat reps done, and obviously having a few of these guys helps with the scenarios in the books, and also it's just really themey for sort of homemade scenarios. So yeah, I thought I'd get some paint on them. Didn't want them just to be on the flat on the bases. Wanted to give them a bit of make them look a bit more dynamic. So there's a few different things you can do. Moving these spiders to fit onto custom bases is really easy. You can heat them up with a hairdryer, and the legs are quite spindly and they'll move, and then you glue them in place. Or you can dip them in hot water. I mean, both of them be careful, but especially if you're using like boiling water from a kettle, be very careful with your fingers. It doesn't need to be boiling, but the hotter it is, the more pliable they become, and they stay pliable for a longer period. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to do much. They're quite easy to use. But yeah, the colour scheme, I've tried to go for sort of a realistic colour scheme. It's hard to tell in the movies what the colour scheme is because of all the different lighting and stuff. Is that coming out well? But I've gone for like browns, greys, blacks. Like I say, use the made some custom bases, just using some of the old Citadel wood pieces, bits of cork, bits of slate. I think they come out really well. I use an airbrush, which makes life a hell of a lot easier, and the paint job a lot quicker. Really easy to do. And then just a bit of dry brushing, picking out detail, and yeah, they come out really well. I'm really happy with them. That's as far as I'm going to go with them. Like I said, I'm probably rarely going to use them, but I think they look cool as they are, and they especially look cool from 3 foot away when you're playing with them, or you know, from the distance that I hold a camera to them like this when I'm filming bat reps. So that is my Mirkwood spiders. So another two things that I've kind of been ploughing through were Percy and Hilda. Now, I put a little bit more time into these guys because these sculpts have been released, and I've got to say they're up there with sort of the best sculpts that I've seen, especially in the new range. Considering that they are minor heroes really, in the Survivors of Lake Town, the sculpts themselves are fantastic. Percy probably pips Hilda, but both are really cool sculpts. So I put a little bit more time into these. It took me a full day to paint these two. Well, I say a full day. I think it was when I got home from work. I finished early one afternoon, about 2 o'clock, and basically just worked on them the whole evening, stopping for brews and tea, etc. But yeah, really happy with how they come out. Considering putting some more highlights on Percy's hair to make him look more grey. I think I've made him look a little bit too young, but it's nothing that I'm too worried about, and I'll do that at some point. So as we can see, try and get it to focus. There we go. I mean, on camera I'm looking at the screen, and to be fair, I mean, I think they look good on camera, but it doesn't do them any justice of what they're like in hand. Those are amazing, and I'm really happy with how they've turned out. Lots of wet blending that I used, used techniques that I wouldn't normally use in the speed that I like to paint, sort of the normal rank and file stuff. But this guy's turned out amazing. I mean, just look at the detail on him. It's fantastic. I really hope that we do get some alternate poses of some of the existing profiles that we have, you know, for Bard and things like that, because those put the others to shame in my opinion, and I'd love to see a Finecast Bard. I know Bard is Jay's favourite character, so Jay, if you're watching, if you could pull a few strings, I'd be eternally grateful for a Finecast Bard. But yeah, that's Percy and Hilda, and I'll put those back on the shelf and show you what else I've been working on. Okay, so next up was the 9, the new 9, the sculpts from Forge World, which are amazing. I'll be honest, I was one of the people who, when I first seen them, thought they were a bit static, would have preferred them to be more fighty, but saying that, getting them in hand, getting the, you know, the full process from gluing them together, cleaning them up, base coating them, right the way through to finishing them off, I just fell in love with them. Really easy to paint. Obviously it's just metals and black cloaks, and you can go as far with that as you'd like. Personally, I have got numerous washes on, which whether it shows, I'm not too sure. I've got blacks, browns, sepias, reds, blues, greens, and in certain lights you can see them sort of coming through here and there. I'm not sure if the camera's picking them up because of the lighting. I'm guessing not, because looking at Sauron that I painted up on camera looks basically like Iron Man in colours, but in hand I assure you is not. It's, you know, lots of blends of oranges out to blacks, etc. It might be different when I upload it, but on the little screen here, yeah, he looks red and yellow, that's it. But yeah, he was just a quick project that I did, just basically whilst I was painting these guys up and waiting for the washes to dry and such. And whilst I've done that, I've done GW's take on the Necromancer also, which in some ways is a nicer pose. And the paint job, obviously I think you can tell I took a little bit more time on. The Sauron in the background took about 10 minutes to convert. I just removed his legs and added sort of some green stuff to look like smoky, cloudy effects. And yeah, airbrushed him in 10-15 minutes. The Sauron the Necromancer model took a little bit longer with, but still he didn't take that long, to be fair. An airbrush just helps so much in blending and things like that. On a model like that where there's quite a few flat surfaces, it really helps. But yeah, that's my 9 and my 2 Saurons, which hopefully we'll be getting on camera soon. I've been planning on getting them on camera for a while, but I've been trying to get together with my compadre Jay over on Top Table Gaming to get some bat reps in, but just both of us are really busy at the moment, and when we are free we seem to be struggling to match up my free time with Jay's free time. I hold my hands up, it's mostly my fault, I've been really busy, but you know, we'll get there. Can't stay this busy forever, but I've got to pay the bills as well. So that is my 9 and Sauron and the Necromancer. So I'll come back in a second with something else. Okay, next up, bit of an eclectic bunch of minis. I'll start with Gandalf. Gandalf the White is a model that I've got numerous of, but non-painted. and when I was stripping some other models, I can't remember what they were, but I was stripping some other models to get painted up, and in this box of models I found this Gandalf the White, and he was really badly painted. Obviously I've got him in a lot from eBay or something, so I just stripped him down, and again it was one of them, in between painting these, in between sort of washes and coats of paint, I started to wax some paint on Gandalf. The train of thought was, it's Gandalf the White, he's on a white horse, fairly straightforward. And he was, to be fair, and I've mentioned before, beiges and whites are not my favourite thing to paint. They're very difficult, I really struggle with it. But I think he's turned out okay. I'll try and get him central, that's it. So yeah, I'm happy with how he's come out, and I now have a Gandalf the White to use in games and as an addition to forces and things like that, and it was a good, how can I say, test for me to paint a model with so much white and beige on it. I didn't want Gandalf himself to be exactly the same colour as Shadowfax, so Shadowfax is more of a colder grey white, and Gandalf's robes are more of a warmer white, and sort of beiges in the recesses, as you can probably see, because I wanted him to stand out from the horse, which I think I've achieved. But yeah, so I mean that's a good, for me, starting point, like I say, and I'll probably paint another Gandalf the White up. I mean I've not got a foot model painted, so I will have to paint a foot model up, and I'll probably redo a mounted model as well, and I use this as a practice for that. But the good thing is, like I say, I've got one painted up now, so I can add him into forces, I can use him now in game and on camera, and I think he'll look well on camera. I think he's come out alright. So that's Gandalf the White. This little puppy, idea was Dave Fredericks. I think some of you have probably seen his stuff. This again was a really quick, nasty conversion. Ended up with a couple of white wogs. Seen Dave's a while back and thought that looks really cool. Didn't really have the time to put into it that I would have liked to have done. It wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. There was a lot of manipulation of the fine cast legs and stuff to get them to sort of look right and look like a dog sitting down and sort of slouching. But yeah, it looks alright. The mouth I opened up a little, made it a little bit wider, and yeah, there's not really much more I can say about that. Just a bit of scenery to the base, and that's done. And that's like a cool sort of dismount. I do have a normal dismount, which is basically just as I cut off the wag and fur sculpted on, but that's just nice. It looks cool. It'll look cool on my weathertop piece on the shelf. So that's the white wag. These Milkwood Rangers, again, really quick. I think I painted these up in one evening, if I remember correctly. I think I was documenting the process on Facebook as I was doing it. Really happy how it turned out. Got them in a trade. They were, what colours were they? They were already part painted. I think they were really dark green with a dry brush of light green on them, if I remember correctly. And I looked at them and I was going to strip them, and in the end I didn't even strip them. I just painted straight over them, and they've turned out okay. I mean, you know, the bases, there's a lot to be said for adding detail to your bases, because it takes your eye away from the model as well. So them parts where you're not too happy with, you put it on a scenic base which has got a lot to look at, excuse me, and yeah, it can sort of take the eye away from that. But yeah, I'm happy with them, really happy with them. It turned out great. Again, they were made specifically with a couple of scenarios in mind, a la Mirkwood Spiders. I already had, I think it was 8 or 10 painted up, which I painted a while ago with and Legolas. So just shy of 2 warbands. And while we're on talking about those, Battle Companies. This is my Battle Companies starter warband, which I'm yet to play with, obviously, as you can see from the paint jobs. Just tilt the camera up a little bit. There we go. Yeah, so I've gone with Mirkwood Elves. I like Mirkwood Elves. I like them a lot. I've not used them half as frequently as I would have liked to. So Battle Companies has given me a good opportunity to use them, get some paint on some of the minis. What I've done with my Battle Companies, my other Mirkwood Elves, which I've got a lot of, I've painted in this scheme from the movies. So there's like golds and reds and greens. I wanted my Battle Companies Mirkwood Elves to look slightly different, but still similar enough that I can use them sort of mixed in with my other bits and bobs in games and stuff like that. So my theory is I'll have one warband, which, well, I've got a couple of warbands actually, which are the original sort of GW scheme, and then I'll build up my Battle Companies, and that colour scheme can be a separate warband with a different leader, etc. So it should work. So as you can see, my Ranger is slightly different. Let me get, which one does it match there? I can't see. I don't think that one's in that, but I'll use him, her. Ever so slightly different scheme. Can you see that? A bit lighter, a bit more sort of effort's gone into my Battle Companies one with the highlights and the shading, so I'm happy with that. It's still very basic, which is what I wanted to keep it because I like to change it a lot. But yeah, that's my Ranger. There's still a few bits on the back that I need to do. The colour scheme for the basic elves, I've added some quite bright blue. Is it me or is it really dark? That, can you see? Not better. Some bright blue, just to sort of pop out of the mini and sort of yeah, just make it stand out basically. And I'm quite happy with how it's turning out. Don't know why I give it a beige cloak. Regretted it as soon as I started doing it, but it looks okay. I'm happy with that. So I've got 2 more to paint up, and then the captain, which has got, I've just done a head swap, sculpted some hair on, like so, as my sort of captain, leader, whatever it is in Battle Companies. And like I say, I'm yet to play, so I've not even read through the rules properly. But yeah, I'll probably get them painted at some point. But I'm happy with those. And that's my Battle Companies, my Mirkwood Elves, Gandalf the White, and the White Warg. So we'll come back with yet more. Can you believe it? More. Yes. See you in a sec. So next up is my Angmar force, or the beginnings of it, should we say. Now Angmar's a force that I really like and I've liked for a long time. But for some reason, I don't know what the reason is, I've just never got around to painting anything up or using it. And to be fair, I think actually one of the main reasons, excuse my phone, one of the main reasons is I really wanted to use Berder, however you say his name, in the force, and wanted to do the model justice with a paint job. I'll just move this up ever so slightly. There we go. Yeah, and just sort of kept putting it off, you know, didn't have that much confidence in myself to do it, and that's probably the main reason. I already had Witch King painted from a long time ago. I've used Witch King in Mordor forces. I've got Witch King on foot, as you can see. I've got Witch King on a Fell Beast, which in the Angmar force I will use, but it's just too big to put on camera. Everyone's seen painting Fell Beast before, there's nothing special. So I already had Witch King painted. I just got Berder out of the box one day and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to paint him. And I started off, I used a few techniques that I've never used before. I used the, what do they call it? Zenithal lighting or zenithal shading, where I undercoated him in black all around to begin with, and then hit him from a slight angle from the top using a grey spray all the way around, so that sort of picked up on all the top areas of his muscles and the leather strapping and things like that, top of his head, on the fur, and then blasted him directly from the top using white, obviously for the lighter points, which is closer, or the higher points, closest to the light source, which in that case would have been directly above. And yeah, it looked great, it picked everything out. I then give him a couple of coats of, let's have a look if I can find it. This is manufactured by Badger, and they call them ghost tints, and they're like a shade, but they have got a bit of a gloss to them. They're a bit thicker than a shade, and you're applying through your airbrush, and basically it's transparent colour. So what I was able to do was spray the whole model in like a dark grey of that sort of give him a grey look for his skin tones, but also left the zenith of lighting coming through, so you could still see where the highlights were, and it was like sort of self-highlighted, if you like, itself for the skin. But that would have been great on a cave troll, which doesn't have any clothing on, but it's covered in leathers and pelts and spikes and all sorts of stuff. So I had to get in there then with the brush, do all that by hand, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And once I got him done and finished, that was it. That kind of spurred me on. I couldn't wait then to get an Angmar Force painted up, which I managed to do. I painted up a shade. Again, there's another model that, you know, in theory is really easy to paint, but I just didn't want it to look like it was just a dry brushed model, if you like, that I'd just done in a green and then dry brush whites or creams over the top. So I did a similar thing. I only coated this in white, and I used greens and blues ghost tints in varying layers depending how deep the creases were for the shading. I think it turned out really cool, and then I just picked out sort of little bits of gold and silver on like armour and crowns and things like that, and it looks well. I'm really happy with it, and base finishes it off, so I'm happy with that. Then went on and got a Spectre finished, because I just think the Spectre's rule have been undone so many times in games at tournaments by Spectres, and their special rule, which basically allows your opponent to move any of your models full move if they fail a courage check, which is really awesome. So I definitely wanted that in there, and him tied in with Witch King on a Fell Beast is a little trick that is sort of, yeah, nasty. There's no nice way to put it, it's really nasty. Also, Gulliver, not sure whether I'll actually use this in any type of competitive game, like tournament wise or anything like that, but just had the model, wanted to get paint on it. I think it's cool for the theme of Angmar. So yeah, I wanted to get him painted. Obviously Bannerman, Witch King was going to be my leader. I'm now sort of in two minds. I might be using Dwimmerlake as my leader, but at the time Witch King was definitely going to be my leader, so I don't know, Witch King painting on the banner of his helmet. Shaman, why would you not take a Shaman if there's one available? This was in my bits box, this Shaman. As you can see, he's got a Gunnerbad Berserker's axe head tip, whatever you want to call it, on his staff. I won't be using it as an axe, obviously, not that filthy. I just needed something to put there because I'd used it on a conversion, which I'll show you later in the video, for my Mordor converted Shaman. So he didn't have a top to his staff, so I had to put that on. Paint job, really basic, but really effective. A lot of my Angmar orcs, I envisage Angmar obviously being cold, hence the snowy bases having a lighter skin, so most of the Angmar orcs, or all the Angmar orcs, have either got like a pale blue, like this guy, or a really pale beige skin tone. And speaking of the orcs, I've done 2 warbands, a warband of spearmen and a warband of orcs with shields, and I think there's maybe 1 or 2. So the plastic orc especially, so he's just a standard plastic orc, no conversions, and I think he may be the only one that's not converted. Oh, I'll tell a lie, there's one. So those 2 in this Angmar force of orcs are the only ones that are not converted in some way, shape or form. They're a mix of plastics and the metals. The metal orcs are beautiful, I really like them. I've been looking for a reason to get paint on some of these guys for a while. Doing this Angmar force was the perfect excuse. Just a lot of character in the original Lord of the Rings orcs. So that's those. Then the others, the plastics, converted loads, just change of poses, swapped to head, swapped arms. Some of them I've got, as you can see on this one, Hunter Orc, head, changed the stance a little bit with the spear. This guy has got a sword and shield from this looks really well. Tom Jennings gave me that idea, it was really cool. A few of them are like that, so you can see this guy was a spearman. I've got an axe and a shield. I really like the heads on that one with the sort of pointy helmet, and I've converted a couple in this force and my Mordor force, so I just think it's a cool helmet, I really like it. But yeah, I won't go through every single orc, we'll be here all day. But that's my Angmar force. I've got a little bit more to add to it, but I'm really looking forward to getting that on the table. I've got an Arnor force, which I'll be doing sort of a video on that force on its own, which Tom Jennings is commission painting for me. So as soon as that arrives, I'll get a video up, and we're going to have an awesome bat rep between Arnor and Angmar, as well as other bat reps that they'll be involved in. So yeah, that's Angmar, so we'll move on to the next force. Okay, so this is my Haradrim, bit of a labour of love, if I'm honest. I've kind of conceded to the fact that I'm going to have to paint these in between other projects, because although for the age that the plastic set is, for your normal Haradrim warriors, and it being like a really good sprue, like detail wise, it's amazing. I'm not enjoying painting them. I'm not sure why that is, but I'm just not. So rather than put them back on the shelf and forget about them, I really want to get them done, especially now with the new Beastmaster upgrade kit that's been released. I especially want to get a force of them painted so I can use them in bat reps and what have you, and possibly at a tournament in the near future once I've used them a few times. Just need to try and get the paint on them, so I'm going to do it in between projects, like I say. Done a couple of heroes, Taskmaster, which is a great model. Really like the Haradrim Taskmaster model. A couple of Watchers of Karna here, or 4 of them, should I say, not a couple. 4 of, I think I've got a full warband of Watchers of Karna, so I've got the 12. But yeah, similar reason, didn't really enjoy painting them, so I'm just doing them in batches. This guy was a impulse conversion. Get him on there. A take on the new Beastmaster model, because it's out of stock and I didn't pre-order one, so pretty upset about that. But I will be getting one, and until then I just did that because I had 3 of them. The ones with the horns, the original Lord of the Rings ones. So I converted one just while I was sat here watching football, basically. It looks alright. I'll be able to use it in bat reps, if it comes to the point where I'm filming a bat rep before I get a chance to get my hands on the official one and get it painted. So that's those. A warband of spearmen, done. I've got a warband of bowmen to do next, which are all undercoated black, ready to go. So I'll be doing that at some point. I undercoated my spearmen in black just for the simple reason that if you look at the colours, basically it's only a handful of colours. So there's purple, black, red, gold, and then obviously like your very light browns, your tans and your beiges, and that's going to be the theme throughout the Force. Obviously you've got, like you say, your golds and your jewels with your like diamonds and stuff, but that's going to be a theme. So all of those that you can see there were undercoated purple. So I did an undercoat of purple, then another spray to act as the base coat of purple, and then just picked out different items of cloth in the other colours, and wherever you can see purple, that was the original colour that it was sprayed. So you'll see that on all of them. With the Bowman, I'm going to do exactly the same thing but with black, because black is one of the colours. I just ran out of purple spray. The Mummock, I had two Mummocks, or two part kits which I've acquired over the years. This was as complete a Mummock as I could build out of what I had. It's missing this platform on the front where the Beastmaster would stand, as you can see. So I'm going to have to scratch build one of those. I don't think it'd be too difficult. It looks straightforward, so I'll probably do that this week at some point. But yeah, he's just going to be box standard Mummock, so I could probably get a bat rep, like I say, filmed once things are ready. I will be getting another one with the Beastmaster upgrade once they're available again. And I've got the parts for another Mummock with pieces missing. Obviously I'm going to convert that to be a terrain piece of a dead Mummock, which you've probably seen. I think it was Shadow and Flames set the trend with that, so I'll be having a go at that, which will be pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to doing that. But yeah, that's Harrod. I do have a massive collection of Harrod, more than I realised I had. I've got, Serpent Riders, Serpent Guard, Haradrim Raiders, all the heroes, a few captains, a few banner bearers, all sorts that I didn't even realise I had, that I've just acquired over the years. It's a really nice looking Force once it's painted, but it's just getting it painted that's proven to be the pain. So that's as far as I got with Harrod so far, so I'll keep you posted on that in the coming months. Okay, next up is, I forgot my big buddies, Moria. I painted Moria again. This is another list that I've wanted to paint for a long time. I've had minis since like Battle Games in Middle Earth days. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. I've got all the heroes, original Warg Marauders, giant spiders, obviously cave trolls. I've got more cave trolls, but at the time didn't feel I needed to paint more than two. Didn't end up using them anyway, but I will do, definitely, 100%. Love the cave troll models, so iconic. Just, yeah, it just brings you back to the old days of playing the game, watching the films. It's awesome. As I was saying, I painted these guys up not knowing what the Force was going to be. At the Desolation of Stockport tournament, sneaking up on us like these tournaments do, and really wanted to take something that I'd not taken before, which was sort of one of my promises to myself this year. Every event that I attend this year, I'm going to bring a Force that I either have not played before or have not taken to an event before, and I don't want to take the same Force to an event this year. So every event that I attend this year, I'll be bringing a Force that I've not used before, which is a good way to get your stuff painted, which what I'm finding anyway, and you guys have probably seen on the Facebook page. It's a good motivator, and it just means that I'm ticking off a load of armies, and if I do want to add to it in the future, rather than having to, so if I wanted to use Moria in the future, I don't have to paint up, tens and tens of goblins and things like that, because I've already got sort of the base for most forces. I might just have to paint one or two things, which is cool, which is where I want it to be. So yeah, so I painted up, I think it was 30 odd normal goblins, mix of shields and spears. There's some metals, some of the older metals thrown in there also, which I really like. I do want to get my hands on more metal goblins, which I'm finding difficult at the moment, they're quite hard to come by, and when they do pop up they're quite expensive. So I do want them, but I don't want to spend silly money on them, because they probably are just going to sit on the shelf for long periods of time. So I'll get them, I'll get there. It'd be nice to have a full force of purely metal, or at least a warband for my army. That'd be cool. Like I said, I had a lot of this stuff lying around. The stuff that I didn't have, I ended up filling the gaps. So I was lucky enough to get a metal Black Shield command set and get them painted up, which was nice. Got the normal Moria Goblin command, as I said. Got the Cave Trolls, Wild Chieftain, which I already had, and I already had painted, but I ended up repainting. Wasn't happy with how I painted it previously. I'm quite happy with how that's turned out. As you can see at the back here, heroes, Groblog, Druzag, and I can't remember his name now. What's his name? Beast Crawler. It'll come to me. Wild Marauders. Pop the blisters at long last and got them painted up. Got 2 of those. Again, they didn't make the cut. I put the vote up to the community about what I was going to take to Stockport. The list that I brought was really cool, and a lot more competitive than I thought it was. To be fair, had a Dweller in it. What else was in it? A Dweller in it. Bat Swarms. Bat Swarms were amazing things. I mean, the fact that they can move 12 inches over terrain, you know, objective grabbers, and can jump over lines and things like that. They're really, really cool. Had a Dweller in, so we'll just have a look. I've got 2 Dwellers. One was already painted, which I painted a while ago. You see, at the time I thought that was a good paint job, but looking at it now, wasn't so good. And then I had another one again, which was painted badly. And all I did was pop the airbrush out again and tidied him up, and then picked out that bit of detail, and it's come off really well. It's come off really well. So yeah, Groblog, Druzag, Durbers, that's the name. Got them painted up. Got Captains painted up. Black Shields painted up. I want to pick up some more Black Shields. They're really, really good in game. Really handy for what they cost points wise. And Giant Spinders, which I'd painted a long time ago. These guys just sort of fiddle about with, put them on some sleigh bases, messed about with the colourings, and yeah, they've come out really well. So I'm really happy with that force. As you see, there's quite a bit there, and there's the basis for a really good list at most points levels. All I need to do is add to that as and when I need stuff, which is what I wanted. So these guys are going to go back on the shelf now, and I think I'll be using them in a bat rep before I'll be using them at a tournament again. So yeah, keep an eye out for them, and we'll move on to the next minis. So next up we have Mordor. Mordor was the other force that I was going to possibly take to Stockport. So was painted like the Clappers to get loads of things painted up. Moria won, as I said. So Mordor will be coming to a event in the very near future. Now, had a lot. Not all my Mordor is what you see here. I've got 3, 4, possibly 5 Fell Beasts with converted named wraiths and generic wraiths that can are magnetised and can sit on there. I've got another couple of warbands of orcs, which weren't painted by me, hence them not being there. Got them commission painted. A couple of trolls. I'm just, and my voice goes funny, it's because I'm just turning around looking on my shelf. Trolls, some more bannermen, a few captains, etc. So what I've got here is what I've either touched up or painted leading up to Stockport, just to get things done. So my theory behind Mordor was all my generic orcs shield and a spear, and my thought process behind that was basically because I've used Goblin Town quite a lot and they get the chittering hordes rule, which means they can support each other. I really liked it. I used Goblin Town so much to the point that when I didn't use them, I found myself doing things when moving minis, not remembering that I didn't have chittering hordes and couldn't just support things sort of willy-nilly. So yeah, I'm yet to put it to the test to see how well it works, because you know, it's only a point for a spear or a shield, but when you're doing it over 20 plus models, it's a fair chunk of points where you could get extra minis in there and extra bodies, which will up your break point. So I'm yet to test it, and I will sort of let you guys know how I do get on with it when I do test it. Hoping to get a few games in with Mordor very soon. I'll just quickly go through what's here. So my Blackguard I already had painted. Just touched them up a little bit and painted the captain in the exact same, obviously, scheme to fit in with those. A lot of armour, a lot of blacks. They're really good in game. I find them quite expensive though for what you get, but I suppose it depends how well you do with them. You know, but I've used them once. I think we did a bat rep, me and Jay, with Mordor v Gondor, and they weren't as hardy as I wanted them to be, but that, you know, just down to dice rolling and things. But yeah, they are quite good. These are all my converted orcs to have spears and shields. There's a lot of stuff in there. They're all plastic orcs, no metals in there. Really quick jobs, really quick paint jobs, lots of browns, and then washed and then highlighted, and obviously then with metals and stuff like that. Really quick. Got Shaman foot mounted. We have Morannon orcs at the back, again with spears and shields, just so you know I can use each one for either a defensive line or a supporting line. They've all got spears so they can support anybody. They've all got shields, so Morannons have got decent defence value, and are quite hard to get through. And Morannons generally are a really good option. I'll probably get another warband of those converted and painted up. Really simple paint scheme. On both my this force and the Moria force, as you probably noticed, purple is kind of a running theme throughout, or it was this month I was painting. I just started painting with it and really liked it, and it's a change from what you normally see on the table, with the reds and the Morannons and the Moria, but not too drastic that it looks silly. So yeah, that was the reason for purple, and everything kind of ties in. So heroes wise, Knight of Umbar, he's done, painted him up, ready to go. The Undying I already had painted, I just needed to touch him up a little bit. Both these have Fell Beast conversions for them, so that is good. He was already painted, to be fair, just added some more bits to his base. Again, same with that one. All I did was touch up the skin on Shagrat just a little bit to make it stand out a little better. This captain, which I had lying around for a long time, really cool model for an orc captain, got him painted up. Shaman, got him painted up. Fairly basic but effective paint job. Kardush. Now Kardush I've had for a while. I touched him up because I painted him a long time ago, and it took a beating somehow, but there was a lot of chips in him, so I touched up his paint job, tied him up a little bit, got a matte varnish on him just to try and protect him. But Kardush is one of them where I don't think I've actually used him in game, but I thought the model was cool, painted it up a long time ago, but I looked at his profile recently and I think he'd be really awesome. Really good, especially with Wraiths in tow. He's got some cool special rules and it's pretty decent profile generally, so yeah, I'll be using him soon. This was my converted Mordor Shaman. Not too sure why I converted him, because I've got a few shamans, but yeah, I just did. Captain, touched him up. Converted Taskmaster, quite happy with this. I think it looks really cool. Got another Taskmaster, but just wanted one to sort of tie in colours wise with this bunch of orcs, and I think he does quite well. So that was the reason why I converted him. But yeah, that's my Mordor force. And I think we're at the end of what I've painted this month, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so that's pretty much, I say this month, it's about 6 weeks. That's probably about 6 weeks. Everything I've shown you, some way, shape or form, is the last 6 weeks. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'm not too sure when the next hobby vlog will come. I've got a day off today, which is very rare. So funnily enough, I'm not painting on my day off. I've got a lot of stuff to do around the house. I'm going to get that done. I just wanted to get this filmed and get some videos out there and sort of say hi and let you know that we're still around, we're still here, and we will be trying our best to get more content out to you very, very soon. So keep watching this space. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. So make sure you like, comment and subscribe. Like us on Facebook, and what is it you do on Twitter? I'm not too sure. Follow on Twitter. Support your Hobbit hobby, and happy strategy battle gaming, guys. See you soon.